Okay, we're making this video. I give up. I just want this to be done and not causing me anxiety. So, hello everyone, 'tis I, Miraghosty, and this is a redesign video. Specifically, this video is redesigning the core 6 characters of Hazbin Hotel, which is Alastor, Charlie, Vaggie, Husk, Nifty, and Angel Dust. Now, you would think, based on like other things that I've done redesigns for, that I might have like some negative feelings towards Hazbin Hotel. I don't. Honestly, I think it was pretty interesting. I actually like the concept all on its own behind it, like the Princess of Hell wanting to rehabilitate sinners so they can go to heaven. I think it's cute. I also really like morally gray stories where they like don't have something strictly be good or strictly be bad. I think it's interesting. And I really did enjoy watching this first season. I enjoyed watching the pilot when it originally came out. I've been following this whole progress of the show for a while. So I wanted to, for fun, try my hand at redesigning or reinterpreting the designs of the main 6. And I'm going to be fair, I'm not happy with like the final designs I came up with. I think it's mainly because I think they're not my best, but also I don't want to just say that they're the worst things I've ever done. For instance, I didn't draw the way I typically do in my specific style. I tried to emulate Vivzy Pop's a lot more, and Vivzy Pop's art style is very like thin and spindly and long with a lot of heavy exaggerations. I exaggerate proportions and whatnot, but not to this extent. I still sit somewhere in the middle of vaguely normal human proportions with certain exaggerations, specifically in like, I think specifically they're in the areas where I feel insecure in my own body, but it's not the point. The point is, I wasn't drawing the way I typically do, so this might be why I'm more critical of what I did make, which no hate to anybody who actually did enjoy these designs, because I like the core ideas that I did while approaching these. For instance, I wrote down all of the core concepts behind each character as like a tick list to consider while I was doing the redesigns. Like for Alastor, I had to remember to consider that he died in the 1930s. He was a radio broadcaster. The whole deer motif, which largely resulted in very minor but significant changes, specifically in the length of his hair, the orientation of his ears, the fact that he has hooves instead of normal feet. I also tried to influence his color palette, but ended up staying in the red and black family, but also simplifying his design a bit more than we do have in the show. It's the same thing with how when I was approaching the redesign of Husk, Nifty, and Angel, they also didn't change a large amount. In fact, arguably, Nifty and Husk barely changed at all. Angel had a good chunk of changes I gave him, especially as, again, I was considering the year that he died, which apparently was 1947, according to the wiki. So I'm assuming that that is something that Vivzy Pop has said somewhere and someone noted it down on the wiki. I don't know how canon that is anymore. So I was considering that. So specifically at first I was looking up 1940s fashion, and it was not leading any good results. I was looking at male and female fashion. And then because it was specifically notated as 1947, I looked up that period and what would have happened, because that was essentially the end of the war, World War II. And I saw this very specific blazer for women that was a like, normal blazer with the lapels, but it was very cinched in the waist and flowed out a bit more towards the bottom. And I just thought, oh my God, that is Angel's actual canon blazer in his OG design. I just exaggerated the bottom of it more to give it the more hourglass shape. And because I did that, it gave me room to give him butt fluff because he's a spider, and I thought that'd be fun to like give a hint to the whole spider butt stuff. He also still has his, fluffy chest floof, and I didn't change anything else aside from his gloves and also the orientation of his second pair of arms, which instead of being at his waist are now also at his shoulders, sort of like the way that we envision how wings would attach on a person, where they would attach at the shoulder blades. So I imagine a second set of arms would also attach at the shoulder blades. It made sense in my head. I don't know if anyone else ever like thinks about that atomically. So I did that for Angel. Specifically in the range of for Husk and Nifty not changing like barely at all, was that their designs are already pretty good in my opinion. I think Nifty looks super adorable. All I did was just change like the bangs on her hair to be more of like the 1950s, 1960s swoop that the women's hair tends to have, and then I gave her antennae because I think it's adorable. For Husk, on the other hand, I gave him pants, which he already was given in the show, and suspenders, and then I felt like this mild annoyance of why does everyone have bow ties? So instead, I gave him kind of like a floating collar thing, and I colored it red because that seemed to make the most sense to not be floating white collar or floating. Yeah, it's just weird. Uh, and then I also cut off his long eyebrows. I think it's just a purely like me peeve of his weird eyebrows. Honestly, they could have stayed. I just wanted more things to change. And then like the other thing that was a huge difference is he actually has just a normal cattail. And then the coloring of his wings, so there's less stripes. Cuz I mean, a lot of people have complained about the stripes in Husk's wings, like all of the unnecessary detail in Husk's wings. And I was like taking that a little to heart in my considerations. Also, I didn't want to have to try and draw all the stripes. So I tried to simplify everything down to like how bird wings are patterned in real life. It was something I considered. Now, for the most drastic of changes, we have Vaggie, who we now know from the show that she is a former angel, but before it was 100% confirmed, which is when I was drawing this, I was still wanting to like her to read more moth. So I pulled up a purple moth off of Google and I used that for color samples. And then I just kind of tried to invoke that in her design. So naturally, that's me giving her the little antenna feelers at the top of her head and giving her thicker calves, and they're also fluffier because I think that's cute. And then I gave her like a more gothic dress with layers so that the topmost layer of the dress can look like a moth because I thought that would be cool. I also cut off all of her hair and forgot to give her the X over her eye because I'm a genius. It wasn't on purpose, and I don't want to change any more of this. I want it to be over with. Now, for Charlie, I tried to work with what we're given, which is she's, demon, princess, Disney-esque, and also some form of puppet ringmaster, which I just leaned more into puppet and therefore doll for just her outfit, and then I cut her hair as well, so it's just short and floofy, and I let her have horns permanently, because why not? And That's it. That's all I did. These are all of my changes, all of the things I kept vaguely the same, and that's all I wanted to do. I mean, no ill will. You can like these, you cannot like these. But I am done, and this is over.